What's up, y'all? This is Angel K right here on the El3vation Radio Podcast. I'm here with my boy, Skinny BK. How you doing, man?
Chilling, son.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Where did the name Skinny BK come from? Because that's a interesting name. So
it was talking to friends before I even had a name picked out. And I was spitballing ideas for a name. And then one of my friends said, literally Skinny BK.
Skinny BK.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. And I figured it's perfect because no matter how much older I get or how much I change, I look in the mirror and I see the same confused, happy, skinny 10-year-old kid trying to process what the fuck is going on around him. So it's pretty much, for me, timeless. So I'm like, cool.
Okay, BK. What does BK mean?
Black kid.
Skinny black kid.
Skinny black kid.
Wow, that's quite of acronym, I'll say.
Yeah, gotta figure authenticity is the point of me making music, so keeping the name authentic only makes more sense.
Oh, no, that makes definitely a lot of sense, man. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down your music and we're just going to go by it, man, like, you know, track by track, you know, song by song. And there's definitely a few bangers that stood out. Overall, self-presentation, bruh, like, I felt like I was listening to, you know, I was listening to every thought that was going on in your brain.
Yeah, appreciate that.
No, I'm dead ass serious. Like, it was just like, I feel like I was living in your mind. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was very, very personal. Like, was that the intention when recording self-presentation, to make it as personal as possible?
Yeah, that was kind of the whole idea. That was the only way I could keep myself centered about making a project. Because at the time, I'm only doing remixes. So I'm like, I don't know what doing a project looks like. So I was like, I guess I'll just talk about things in my realm of understanding. And the point is self-presentation is basically the thesis statement for my career. It's like, I'm here to present my lens and what I understand and how I feel about things. And it only made sense to keep it that close to home.
Yes. I love that answer, actually. And it's a beautiful album.
Thank you, man.
Definitely. I also saw a video of you in 2014, correct me if I'm wrong, 2018, called Love Yours Freestyle.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. That freestyle, I was listening to like, what the fuck? Yo, this is very, very personal. Is he all the way sure he wants to put this down on the internet? Like, dead ass? Like, you need to tell me, like, what was going on in your mind? Like, why did you decide to put that on YouTube?
That was, I think I was still in I call it like the trenches. I was just writing a ton for, just for the sake of getting better. Okay. And I had caught Futuristic's remix of it before I even heard the original Cole version. Okay. And I'm listening to his remix of it and I'm like, man, this is personal. I'm like, I think I should get personal on something. And then I did it and it only made sense to keep it personal. I recorded that with my Kingdom Hearts necklace on, which is not a good idea. Don't record it with chains or anything. That's a no-no. That's a no-no.
Did you was your intention to, like, you know, draw out a few tears out of people when people would see something like that? Cause, like, you know, my empathy kind of kicked in when I watched Love Yours. I was like, bruh. I mean, not even, I just kind of did what made sense in my head to do at the time. Like, I think I like to imagine my stuff can have that effect on people, but I just kind of talk about what feels natural for me to talk about. Like, if I catch an instrumental and how it makes me feel and everything, I just run with whatever I think makes sense. Okay, bruh, you need to tell me about the EBM 2019 submission you did. Oh, that music video. That's like the only music video I could find. Yeah, the Eat My Beats one that AKT Action and Futuristic did. Yeah, that was a trip. I caught that. Okay. I think I caught it on my Futuristic's YouTube channel. And then did a little digging through the list of beats they had. I listened to everything like twice. Okay. And that was, at the time I was super feeling boom bappy when I got on songs, and that was the most boom bappy instrumental I could find on there. So I was like, okay, let me shoot it. And then because I worked 2 jobs and everything, I didn't have the time to finish making the song and getting the video shot before the contest was over. Okay. So then when the contest was over, I was like, I'll just drop it, I guess, because why not? Just drop it. Okay. Instead of keeping it in the archives forever. Oh, yeah. By the way, when I watched your Love Yours freestyle, in your lyrics, you said that you started writing lyrics in 2014. Yeah. So, like, tell me a little bit of your evolution of writing songs and writing lyrics. I wrote for the first time, I think within the first month after my dad introduced me to Lupe Fiasco. Okay.
And I caught Bitch Bad, Words I Never Said, a bunch of those ones. And I was just like, there's a whole way that this man does music that I didn't know hip hop like that existed. The idea of conscious hip hop was a foreign thing to me. And then friends at school started randomly getting me into people like Hopsin and Futuristic and Logic. And I was just like, man, I want to do that shit too. So randomly I wrote once at the house when I'm 17 on like a Saturday. And I was just like, why am I writing raps? I don't rap. What the hell am I writing for? And then a couple months later, I wrote again. Same thing. Why am I writing raps? This isn't what I do. Okay. And then end of 2015, after graduating high school, I was spiraling on what I wanted to be doing. And then I was like, let me keep writing because there's a reason I keep writing. And then I just spiraled from there. As soon as I took the brakes off and was like, don't fight it. Just go on it until you lose interest, because I figured I would lose interest, but never did.
Wow.
Never did. That's the only like craft I've ever lost sleep for, or sat at work stressing about it. Like all the time I'm sitting at work, like people know I have my hand on my chin and I'm sitting like, how am I going to make this entendre fucking work?
Right.
Hasn't stopped since I took the brakes off, and that was like late 2015, early 2016.
Wow.
And then it was every day for like almost 3 years I was writing.
Wow.
Every day.
All right, so real quick, I want to ask you, like, what was your childhood like? Just sum it up.
Sum it up?
Yes.
Confusing, if I had to pick one.
Confusing? That's, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of, there's a lot of seeing things around me I knew I had to spend time understanding. And then people older than me in my family, whatever, telling me not to think about it. And it built this loop in my head of, you tell me not to focus on it, I'm going to focus on it. Wow. And there was a lot. My family doesn't really like talking about trauma. That's not a thing that we do.
Okay.
I think black families in general, but mine especially. So I kind of just sat and quietly put a lot of things together in isolation.
So just a lot of suppression?
Yeah, kind of like, I don't even know how to fully, a lot of processing things quietly in the back of my head, like things I would leak to family when I'm like 19 that everybody I told it to, they're calling me like, I never realized. And I'm like, yeah, when traumatic things happen to you, it has an effect on you.
Oh, no, it definitely does. And I can say that, you know, from my point of view too, like I had some traumatic stuff going on in my childhood too. So completely understand. And, you know, my childhood wasn't great either. So that's one thing I can relate to you with. And right now I do want to break down Self-Presentation, which was, you know, was that your first album you put on Spotify, right? Yeah,
that was the beginning of having projects on streaming services. That was the first one.
And how long did it take you to record that?
That was a journey. It was me. How long was it to record? I barely even remember. It was all basically written within a couple months.
Okay.
Everything was recorded, and then it was me and Demigod Status, my audio engineer. I met him in the middle of me recording it.
Wow.
And then we took I think it was like half of the year of 2019 before we dropped it in November. We were just going over everything, and he was learning new things about mixing and remixing the entire project and sending it to me. I was rewriting verses on songs or editing verses on songs and re-recording things entirely. So it wasn't long to make initially, but then it was a good probably half a year of just living on it and making it as perfect as we could.
So you're just a perfectionist pretty much.
Yeah, I like living on things, especially because I overthink. So
okay.
I like to live on stuff for a while.
I know that firsthand. Trust me. Overthinking is like, you know, my state of being. So definitely can relate to that.
Yeah. I feel like you gotta take your time with your stuff too. Cause I'm not really even in it to just make something quick and then drop it as a Hail Mary. I never feel that way when I'm making something.
Right.
So definitely. Even something, if I'm like, I'm just dropping this on socials and it's just going to live on Instagram, I'll take like a couple weeks to just sit on it before I'm like, all right, it's ready.
Okay. Definitely. After listening to Self-Presentation in my car and like, once again, I'm living rent free in your fucking head. I'm just like, bruh.
Welcome.
Well, Expect, Proud Nerd, and Dear Father are the most standout tracks on there. Like, I loved every single track. You know what I mean? Like, I said, like, Announcement was really, really good. Lyricist, like, you know, it's just all the tracks stood out. You know what I mean? You made it short, you made it sweet, you made it simple, and you made it very, very, very easy to listen to. And like, it's one of them things you got to sit down and you got to dissect. Yeah. You know what I mean? And there's a few songs in there that I was sitting down like, wow, like I have to really, really, really think on this. And it's like you place Easter eggs in your music. Do you think that you do that? Like you place little hidden messages?
All the time. All the time. I'll be happy to insult someone and bury it in a video game reference so that people who have played that and understand that character or that part of the game are going to be like, oh, that's rude.
Give me a line real quick as like an example of something like
that. From Takeoff, a song I did on an album I did with my homies in Street Politicians Entertainment, SBE.
Okay.
It was the end of Takeoff. The last lines I said, nerd swag is an art I'm spending life to master. Let you fucks that mad, my grin ain't up for capture. Say you Andrew Ryan, won't believe you lest you show me rapture, motherfucker. So Andrew Ryan is a character from the BioShock games. Okay. And it's an alternate history like 1920s. And this dude basically builds an entire metropolis underwater. And
what?
Initially, he gets a lot of pushback of like, because it's the 1920s still. Like, you can't build a fucking metropolis underwater. So he's like, all right, whatever. He goes, builds it. It falls into complete disarray. The whole thing falls apart. When the game starts, you show up after it's already fallen into disrepair and shit's fucked up and there's all these crazy factions around. But it's meant to be the idea of kind of like everybody who has the gift of gab and will say all the things that they want to do, all the things they're gonna do or whatever. It's almost annoying because I'm in the trenches trying to figure shit out and trying to handle things. And then there's all these people just kind of running their mouth, but they never produce results. So I'm like, all right, I'm not going to believe you unless I see rapture. Like, unless I actually see something tangible from what you're telling me, you're fronting. And that shit annoys me.
So just actions speak louder, in other words.
Point blank.
Definitely. So one take I could take from this overall album is just you not following trends or expectations. Like, that's another big theme that was throughout most of the track listing. A lot about video games and balancing that with rap. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, you know, just a lot of lyrical hitters, just a lot of self-reflecting.
Yeah, tons, especially on that as the first one, because that was the direction I felt was natural. I'm like, I'm gonna just introspect a little.
Are you a fan of Will Smith?
I grew up listening to a lot of Will Smith. I haven't gone back to Will Smith in a long time, but I grew up on Miami and Big Willie Style and a whole bunch of those ones. I grew up with that in the house.
Okay, this question is not coming out of nowhere, okay? This question is coming because I heard a lot of Will Smith audio in your self-presentation. Like, I heard it a couple times, actually. Yeah. Like, and expect, you know, do I give a fuck what y'all think? Like, I heard that, and then I heard, like, you know, the famous line between, you know, Uncle Phil, you know what I mean? And Fresh Prince. Yes, and Will and Fresh Prince. And that whole scene, you know, at the beginning of Dear Father, which that was a perfect placement because that summed up the entire song. Yeah. And it just, I was like, wow, like, I almost dropped a tear or two listening to it, man.
Damn, that's the first time I've heard that too.
That's really gonna, no. That's, and I guarantee, as emotional as that song is, it won't be the last.
Oh, no.
No, it won't be the last at all. So, like, you know, is that one thing you want to do with your music is just inspire and get people emotionally invested?
Pretty much, it translates in my head as I'm not rapping to be a rapper, I'm rapping to be myself. And I think it's important I give my life and the way I process things and the way I feel about things to get people invested in who I am. Because I'm pretty much doing it to present myself. Because I think about it like I'm going to be dead one day and my music's going to be talking for me. I don't want to sound like a bunch of other motherfuckers after I'm dead. That doesn't make sense to me. That's a waste of my time.
Facts. Definitely facts. So we're going to go through a few tracks that stood out to me. We're going to go through Expect first. One of the quotes you said was, finger fucking all who give unsolicited rejection. I love that fucking quote. What was you thinking when you wrote that?
That's kind of how I've always felt since I was really, really little. Like, sitting around, not making problems, and then someone wants to run their mouth and talk shit, and I'm looking at them like, yo, what did I do to you? Playing my PlayStation in a different room than you.
Okay.
The fuck is your problem? I'm just chilling.
Yes.
So it's kind of me presenting on record like, all right, you can suck my whole dick if you have a problem with me. Because I've done nothing to you.
Like whole dick, not just suck my dick. Nah. It gotta be suck my whole dick.
No,
really?
you got to catch the whole thing, balls and all. You got to catch all of that. That whole region of my body. You got to get everything. You got to get
whole
everything.
Region of my body.
That is your.
This is a really fun interview so far. I'm really liking your dialogue so far. It's fucking crazy. Like it's very distinctive. I'll say that.
Man, hell yeah.
Very, very. And then one quote that you said, yeah, she's fine, but my focus is to penetrate her mind. Because usually guys don't say shit like that. Usually it's, fuck bitches and get money.
Yeah.
The cliche shit like that. So like, why did you put that line specifically?
Because with women and trying to date, that's always my focus. Like, I'm never really running around trying to run through a whole bunch of chicks. I mean, granted, I've always got options for that shit. Like, always. They tee themselves up regularly enough that it's a normal thing now. But I'm more interested in actually dating women and getting to know them and spending time with them and catching their personality and building rapport and making them comfortable and all that before we get to all the other shit.
Okay.
That's about my steez, because I've watched a lot of people try a lot of different ways with dating and just fucking around. Like, you're fucking them and then you're trying to make it something serious, but you're just fucking at the beginning.
Exactly.
So I just keep it very direct. Like, yeah, you fine and shit. Yeah, I want you, but let's kick it. Let's chill. Let's relax for a little bit. Let's just sit here and bullshit for a while.
Did you hear that, listeners? There's a man with standards here. We exist. We really fucking exist. Anyway, another quote that you said was primitive vocal weaponry.
Yeah.
Primitive vocal weaponry. Where the hell did you get that?
Kind of just like, I almost think of me barring up on songs as wielding like a sword. And with a sword, all the anime shit that I've watched, all the games I've grown up playing, motherfuckers do all kinds of shit. A video game where there's a samurai who goes to the west and is fighting cowboys, and he's cutting their bullets in half. So it's like, you can pull up with all this shit that you want to, but my shit will cut right through yours, no problem, because you want some primitive shit. I'm trying to keep my lyricism and my skill elevated because I think it's important to do.
Right.
We're adding to a culture with so many decades of history and so many people who have done it before us.
Yes.
It's important that we bring our own kind of flavor to it.
Yes, without forgetting who did it before. And I'm saying that message because, a lot of rappers, they're not really paying homage no more. You know what I mean? They just like step aside, the Nas's and Ice Cubes and like, we here now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's too much of people thinking that, we're the first people to do all of this and do all of that. Where really there's people before us who set the standard and we're not even paying homage no more. Like, what the fuck, man?
Exactly.
Like that's missing. And like another thing I want to talk about before we get to the next track, is you said, do my thing from age 3 to the day of my death, which is in the hook.
Yeah.
I love that fucking quote. Wow. Why age 3 of all ages though? Why not just from birth?
3 is the first time I can remember understanding that I was myself, like catching my reflection and being like, whoa, that's me. And then sitting there for a minute, like looking at myself and fucking around. Like, I think I had my little Tarzan plushie toy in my hand and I'm just sitting there looking at myself like, oh, that's me. Hey, that's me. And kind of trying to put that idea together that like the minute I first gain self-awareness until I'm in the ground, I'm going to do what the fuck I want to be doing. Because otherwise I'm wasting my life in my head. I get one. I'm not going to waste it.
And expect speaks for itself. It's just exceeding expectations to just not giving a fuck what people got to say.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what the track is. And then Proud Nerd, which is the next track we're going to get into. I love that one. One of the first lines you said is, one can describe me as happy and stubborn as Naruto. Yeah. Why Naruto?
Naruto was it was the first anime that I got into where I was actively watching it and I would see friends and be like, oh dude, because Toonami was the fucking mecha era of anime for me and my friends. But Naruto's he sets his sights and he doesn't budge. It's like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Plus, his life is very much a pocket of a lot of people not really caring about him very much.
Right.
So he's very much just kind of like, I'm going to do what I want to be doing because people don't really give much of a fuck anyway. And he's always super giddy. Like, it's literally I forget what episode it is. Kakashi's explaining him to someone and is like, you don't see him cry or like sulk or really quit on what he wants to do. He picks his direction and he kind of stays going that way.
Right.
And then people clown him all the time for always just being in a good mood or being fucking like weird or being childish. Like at the time, that was the closest connection I could build in my head with a character to start a song like that off. Because so many people know Naruto and so many people my age, we literally grew up coming to the playground talking to each other about what happened in Naruto. So I'm like, the best way I can contextualize how I work is through likening myself to that character. I'm gonna do what the fuck I want. I'm not gonna ask your permission, and I'm gonna be giddy about it the whole way. Cause suck my dick.
I fucking love it, man. You are very fucking interesting. And I mean that in a good way, because I've called people interesting, but sometimes it's interesting and it's not really good. So,
it's a whole different caliber.
Thank you very much. So
you.
Another quote I'm gonna bring up is, you said, watching behaviors and seeing patterns almost every single day. How did I actually predict what you were about to say? Accurately predicted, actually.
Yeah.
Are you just very intuitive?
I guess something like it. Me and Demi, we were talking about it once, and I hold myself into it in my head. He was like, we're gamers. We see patterns. We play video games work in patterns. We see a lot of patterns in things.
Okay.
And thinking about it with just interacting with people, there's a lot of shit that I've been hearing on loop since like first, second grade out of people's mouths. Like almost verbatim from a 6-year-old kid to a man in his 20s to a woman in her 40s, like all of that shit. There's a lot of thought patterns and thought processes that people seem to move with that are just copy pasted. And I don't really see too much individuality when I'm out in the world. So it's kind of just me frustratedly being like, yo, how the fuck did I assume you were going to take this conversation that direction? You're whack as fuck to me. Because that's a mentality that I'm not even a fan of. And I'm hearing it again. However many years later after hearing it so many fucking times, here it is again. Can't get away from it.
And I love the infectious ass hook. Where the controller's at. Just watch me some cartoon and anime. Yeah. I was like, wow, I really love. I fell in love with the hook. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, bro, I could really bump with this. Tell me who produced that beat, because that beat was fucking fire, bro.
That beat was that was Origami Beats. He's a producer I caught on YouTube. That was the first YouTube producer beat that I heard. Actually, it was Waifu is the name of it. That man he's deep in the anime and video game pocket. I'd say more anime than video game, but he very much is in that space. And at the time, I didn't know any producers. Okay. So it only made sense to grab something that fit the nerd aesthetic. And that beat was perfect for that shit.
I'm going to keep it G with you. My purpose was to get all up in your business, right? Okay. But when I'm listening to your music, I feel like I already did. God damn. Like, going through this music, I'm like, yo, like, the fun part's over. Like, I can't just sit here and grill him. Like, I have to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I listen to his music, I already know every fucking thing. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, if you don't know who Skinny BK is, just listen to his music.
I'll let it speak for itself.
Bro, just listen to his music. And another thing we're going to talk about before we go to break is Dear Father.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah. We're going to get into that. I was listening to it and I was literally like holding back tears the first time.
Damn.
No, dead ass. Like it just was so emotional. It felt like, you were not just reading the lyrics from like a piece of paper. It felt like you was reading them lyrics like from your heart. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it felt so authentic and it just felt, it was so many emotions. Like you can tell like nothing was fake or put on or was an act when you was recording that song. Mm-hmm. And it was fucking beautiful, bro.
Thank you, man.
I fucking mean that. Like one quote I'm gonna bring up is when you said, mentioning your name feeds the root of my pain.
Yeah. I forgot about that line. Yeah, that's exactly how it feels anytime that motherfucker's name comes out of my mouth. That's exactly how it feels, because it's the feeling of kind of like, all right, you've been a question mark to me forever. There's a picture of us together, actually, when I'm maybe, I'm like not even 2 in that picture. Okay. I think I'm still in diapers in that picture. And it's the only thing I've really seen of the two of us together that I can at least drop right now. And then beyond that, dude's a question mark. Okay. And walking around with that kind of chip on your shoulder and having it your whole life, anytime I get reminded of it, it hurts just a little bit. Much less so now that I've kind of come to grips with it than when I wrote the song. But still, anytime. I actually have his mugshot in my Google Drive, and I look at it every once in a while because I feel like we're two sides of a coin.
Wow.
So I look at it just to remind myself, like, all right, that's your opposite. That's what the fuck you hate and what you refuse to ever turn into.
That's fucking deep, man.
Yeah, it's
I told you, we're gonna get deep in this podcast, man. Don't hold nothing back. And then also with your father, with Dear Father, you said another quote, a couple came around like they could, potentially be my father, but none of them saw their son when they looked me in the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
My mom had just a couple boyfriends when I was growing up. It was two that she went back and forth between for a while, and then eventually a third when I was maybe 9 or 10. And then after a while with him, she was single for a bit, and then met the dude only man she's ever married and the only man who's ever called me son, who I have in my life still. Wow. And is a genuinely fucking incredible person and a genuinely good dude. It's a lot of confusion, and it kind of formed my general steez with women and just people in general now. Because I got to watch these dudes operate with my mom and be kind of like, all right, you're here for pussy, refusing to accept the fact that you're fucking with a chick who has kids. And I'm sitting here wanting to kick your fucking teeth in because you're around.
Right.
And which I think I mentioned in the song, my older brother is autistic and his father's not around either. Right. And there was always that kind of anger that I would feel of looking at my brother and wondering if he even remotely understands that we don't have a dad around and that his dad isn't around. And there were always a list of things going on in my head when it'd be another dude in the picture. And it was only a couple from the time I was born until I was like 14, 15 when my mom got married. But even still, I was never really comfortable with a lot of those dudes. I think I was with one genuinely, but who got me into video games and anime and introduced me to all that shit. But I didn't hear the word son come out of a man's mouth at me until I was 15. Sure. And I cried for like 20, 30 minutes when I heard it.
20, 30?
Yeah.
God.
I went back up to the room and cried for a while. Because there's a level, I think there's a level of understanding of the responsibility you carry as a man when you look at a boy and call him son or a girl and call her daughter. So hearing that for the first time, it was almost an indication that good men do exist in the world. And I don't have to be the one to set the precedent. There's people around me who already have the precedent set. Right. And I just have to live to it. Right. And it's the comfort of knowing that I live with someone who lives to that kind of bar and I can learn from him and gain understanding from him. And that he's there for me and my family. He ain't just there for pussy. There's a lot of dudes running around hunting for pussy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I understand it, but I got to see how game goes when I was a kid. So there's a deeper understanding that I have of like the different dynamics at play. Especially when you're fucking with a woman who has kids, which is why I exclusively duck women who have kids. Because I cannot do all that yet. I'm not in a position in my life where I can be there for somebody's child. Nor do I want to feed the chip on their shoulder. Because mine's still here and it's not going anywhere. And I understand that experience. So I don't want to give it to somebody else's kid if I can help it.
Wow.
At least not me. I know other motherfuckers are going to.
Right.
I don't want to.
And you also mentioned that, when you first called him dad, when you went downstairs one day and was like, yo, I'm going to see what it's like to call him dad. And you called him dad. How did that feel like the first time?
Stressful. I paced in that room for 15, 20 minutes deciding if I was even going to. Wow. I was getting to a point because watching any man with my older brother is a litmus test for me of like, all right, this man has autism. He's had 9 brain surgeries. 7 of which before he turned 2. So, or by the time he turned 2. So I'm like, let's see. I'm going to watch how this man operates. And he was very good with my brother because my step siblings, his son, my stepbrother Max, he is also mildly autistic. Okay. So we kind of had a basic understanding. And watching for the first time, I felt like really a good man of character who we lived under the same roof as, be not only good with me and my mom, but also be good with my brother. That was additional, like, okay, I'm comfortable enough with giving you this position in my family in my head because no other man has really
stepped up to the plate.
Yeah, especially on reflection. Because when I'm little and the dude who taught me my first couple of words is in the house. I call him daddy, and I'm like, yeah, it's dad. But then time and wisdom kind of showed me like, all right, no, you're here for pussy and that's it. You're a bitch. Versus my dad, Chris, where I get to look at him and be like, all right, this is a man of tangible character. He means what he says. He's about his business. He takes care of his family and the people around him, and he's just a good dude. I don't have to look at him ever and roll my eyes because he's being extra or he's trying too hard to be hard or whatever the fuck. He's not a boy. This is actually a man.
Right.
So I can give him that position and I'm completely fine with it. Because I know if worse came to worse and I'm not around or my mom's not around, he's got me and the people I care about, no problem.
Right. There's a lot of grown-ass kids out there. So, definitely, man. And the last quote I'm going to talk about is when you said, turning out anything like you is my greatest fear. Yeah. And that was the last thing that you said on the song, and you just completely broke.
Yeah.
So, wow, man. Did you really cry at the end?
Yeah, that was legitimately me crying as I finished delivering that song. Because I wrote that to understand that situation. I had just started actually understanding what all of that meant to me in relation to my father specifically. And I couldn't think of any other way to process it than to just write my emotions out about it and walk myself through it. So the whole song was literally me giving myself therapy. Wow. I just ran on until I got to a point of okay, I think that's about how I feel about it. And it took 2 weeks to come up with those last 2 lines because I was still trying to understand how I felt about the whole situation. Okay. You put me in a room with him, how do I feel? I feel like I want to beat his ass. I feel like I want to kill him. And I feel like he's my opposite. And that's the position I got to by the end of writing that song. Wow. Like, all right, you're everything I don't want to be. In prison for pushing drugs, which necessity is necessity. And I understand that now better than I did then. Right. But sometimes you got to step to the plate in a weird way because you're born into an environment that you don't have any control over and things happen around you. But he's fathered more kids than just me illegitimately. I think I've got at least 3 or 4 half siblings out there I've never known.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Dude, insane.
3 or 4?
Yeah, minimum. Because he has kids with, I think, 3 other women besides my mom that there's record of. So it's not just me that he's fathered illegitimately. There's other kids out there where he has,
my God,
at least the ones where there's cases listed and all this other shit. Plus nuts. I say it because my mom gave me express permission to talk about it. He did rape my mom when she was pregnant with me, and the most she could think to do was hold her stomach to try to protect me. Yeah, I forget how far into it she was, but that is something that he did. So, in a lot of ways. And I asked her about him once, what he was like. And she described him as just being very angry and kind of disconnected from people around him. So in a lot of ways, he's the mark I don't want to leave on the world and the people around me is how I pretty much feel about him. I don't know how I would act if I got put in a room with him, honestly.
Oh no, that's completely understandable, honestly. I don't know how I'd be put in a room with somebody like that if that was my dad. You know what I mean? So it's completely understandable, man. And I love the fact that we digging deep right now. And I love the fact that you laid it out on the table about your father and about personal things like this. Because usually people, they harbor this kind of shit. Mm-mm. They keep their shit inside. They don't like expressing it because they're so afraid of what people are going to say or what family members are going to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like it's very easy for me to do so because I'm a bastard and because he never cared. Because through him not caring, and then as I was going through life and getting older and understanding social dynamics, people around me not caring or giving me shit for no reason, I kind of just learned the world doesn't really give a fuck. Mm-hmm. I've always had people around me who care. So I know people have the capacity to, but the world at large doesn't. So I don't think it doesn't do me any good running around being afraid of expressing those kind of emotions because I'm gonna die one day anyway.
Yes.
At some point, I'm not gonna be around and the world will continue, which isn't even me trying to be pessimistic or whatever. That's just the way the shit rolls.
Right.
So I think while I'm here, when situations like that come up, it's important that I express those emotions and those feelings and those thoughts because otherwise I think I'm wasting my time.
I love it.
I'm not into wasting my time with that type of shit.
I love it, man. Definitely. We're gonna get back to you. We're gonna play your song right now and you go ahead and introduce your song.
Word. This one's How off of my last project, Nomadic Thoughts, which is on YouTube and SoundCloud. It's The song speaks for itself. It's a very stream of consciousness, kind of walking you through some shit type of song. Not nearly as, it's still heavy, but not as emotionally heavy as Dear Father is, but very much in a similar kind of space to Dear Father.
Yes, definitely. I'll be checking that out, man.
We're appreciative.
So right here is How by Skinny BK, and when we come back, we are going to unpack Nomadic Thoughts, and we are going to go through every single track, and we're going to break it down, all right?
Hell yeah.
All right, man, we'll be right back right here on El3vation Radio.
Can I approach my mind from? Can't find a finite number, guess it's an infinite sum. A list of potential routes, how to utilize my mouth. Display to the planet everything my life's about. Execute the act of presenting who I am. Communicate all the things my mind keeps making time to scan. Digging through the crates, learning from Mr. Metical. And a fat list of founders of modern hip-hop style. Lyrical power, simple to wield, difficult to master. My need to speak better is my most consistent nagger. Wield a dialect that would make Merriam-Webster wet. Spit the shit other Gen Z members feel in their chest. I'm one of many who are sick of the status quo, watching quote-unquote financial pros posture for a status show. Surface level substance keeps broken hearts protected. That's why I rock trauma like I lack any defenses. Don't got chains, I wrap my neck with what I come to love. Don't give a fuck, most expensive necklace costs $20. How can you say you know me if we barely conversated? My sense of self don't budge, die mad you can't sedate it. Sitting at home staring at the wall past my blinds, digging through my scars like a freelance car washer giving spit shines. How many idols do I have that I'm breathing? Driven by self-wants, not adoration scheming. I had 4 until mom gave me that phone call. Stopped riding my bike on the canal, tried not to fall. Your great grandpa's dead, she said. Got my biggest regret, never getting his number in college just to pick through his head. How the fuck am I supposed to feel? I got hunger pains, my stomach is starving for black knowledge. Sooner console great grandpa's gravestone than enroll in college. I know plenty who don't live their lives haunted by paranoia. Never see that in public, I'm always looking over my shoulder. In my timeline around 2002 or 2003, mom sat me down, had an intense learning session with me. Guns ain't toys, don't let me catch you playing with any ever. Even a water gun, understand I don't wanna see you severed. Followed instructions, threw out anything that could paint me as a gunslinger. Catching the layers in every written Aaron Magruder zinger. Slowly grasping the fact that I have to watch my step. Mom says stay safe, I hear don't let a bigot take your breath. Saw myself in Tamir Rice, cam footage took a piece of my soul. What you mean I'm less black, cause my teeth ain't caked in gold? Shut the fuck up, got the same target on your backs. Don't know why you look at me like I'm Uncle Tom rocking nice slacks. My big brother's autistic, 9 surgeries on his brain. Fear paints us as gorillas who've earned the right to be slain. I've been called one of the good ones, feeling like I'm undercover. Ignorant pricks all around me, unable to look past my color. Justify unnecessary murder, tell me not to be concerned. Positive you pussies would all end me and get court adjourned. I got my own people acting like my melanin ain't real. Consult my bedroom wall asking how the fuck I'm supposed to feel. I don't think I'm about to get answers from nobody. Blessed and cursed with a busy subconscious, constantly quietly nervous of my lyrics coming out pompous. Anvils on me when friends say they see me as an inspiration. You got me in your sights, seem to be confused by the equation. I'm the cycle breaker, next in a long line of culture shakers. Hip-hop moves where we move, skinny equals torch taker. You could summon gods who saw and caused the birth of the crustacean. Mount Olympus couldn't hope to stop the Olympic trail I'm blazing. Beyond sick of meeting these unique clones of my father. Bitch asses who plant their nut don't bother to give it water. Ducking any confused chicks with a shaky sense of identity. Volatile, easy for man to persuade like Persephone. Looking at most of my family with a side eye. They ain't pay heed to mom's tears when Pop died. Stepsister once said she couldn't stand her narcissistic mother. Now she behaves like they're destined to be reflections of each other. Constantly question how long I've got with my friends. Got a solid group now, prep for the day it all ends. Life's taken so many good connections from me in a snap. How do I value these moments rather than wait for bonds to crack? What the fuck? Brains caught in a cyclone, made on my own. What the fuck? How much am I supposed to give to this microphone? Show people the man I am, barely certain who I'm becoming. Holding on to hope feels just like ripping nothing, no bluffing. I ain't know how to...
What are you doing?
I don't know, Ronan. Man, there's too much. I can't process all this shit.
Do you know what you want?
Of course I do. What the fuck kind of...
Just do what you know you have to. Don't get lost in the noise. Stop overthinking. You good?
Yeah, I think so.
Nah, no so. Try again. You good?
Yeah.
What is up? We are back with Skinny BK. What you guys just heard was Now.
How?
Oh my God, I'm fucking up already. Excuse me.
You good? It's the middle of the afternoon and shit.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're going to talk about Nomadic Thoughts. Nomadic Thoughts was a fucking masterpiece of lyricism. I'm going to say that.
Shit.
No, dead ass. Masterpiece of fucking lyricism. Like, I feel like you was actually more lyrical on this than you was on Self-Presentation.
Way more.
I feel like Self-Presentation, you were just much more personal. But I feel like on Nomadic Thoughts, you were diving deeper into the lyricism part.
Yeah, way deeper into the lyrical bag. I am an MC, so I felt like I had to level the hell up on my next joint.
Okay, so first I'm going to talk about, the first track, Cerebral, which I fucking love. One quote I want to bring up is, live like we still live in elementary hallways.
Yeah.
give me, break that down for real quick.
Me and my friends, the circle that I keep, which is not a very big circle, we keep it very simple. The same type of shit that we were on when we were little kids, and the same way we've been since we were kids. We're just a bigger version of that now. I don't really keep people close who don't just do what the hell they want to be doing in their life. People who they have to become a quote unquote adult and go through this metamorphosis or whatever. Yeah. Rather than growing as a person and maintaining their personality, I keep the latter category close rather than the former. Because a lot of people who try to morph into what the world thinks they're supposed to be are fucking whack, and they do shit that I don't really stand by. So I keep friends around who, when I'm excited about oh shit, did you see the announcement trailer for this so-and-so Final Fantasy, or did you hear they're making an Avatar game? They're like, oh yeah, no, I caught that too. That shit looks nuts. Or we have people in the room looking at us funny, what the fuck? But we're just enjoying ourselves.
Right. Oh no, one other quote I want to bring up, that's fucking interesting, dude. I love unpacking these lyrics. I'm getting even deeper and deeper and deeper, bruh. I feel like I'm you now. Yeah. I might as well be you.
Welcome to my brain. Here's a dictionary.
Really? Okay. This is fucking dude. I fucking love you. You're fucking cool, man. Thanks, Don't let nobody else tell you that you're not cool, because you're fucking cool.
Motherfuckers try. I got people around me that I'm good.
Right. Exactly. We just need a small little bubble. That's it. All my snapbacks are laced with douchebag repellents. Why did you say that?
Because I like wearing nerdy snapbacks, and it's almost at least usually when I wear them places, I feel like it's a deterrent for some people, which works perfect for me. Because the kind of people that a Sonic the Hedgehog snapback or a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time snapback, the kind of people that would turn away, generally are people that I don't like much to begin with.
Wow.
So it only translates when I'm like, all right, let me pull up with this Zelda logo on my hat, and they ask what it is, and I tell them, and they're like, what the fuck? All right, moving on. I'm like, all right, suck a dick.
And then you also said your opinions ain't worth a fraction. Bruh. I just love this track, period, man. You're fucking quotable as fuck, man.
Thank you, man.
No, I fucking mean that. You're hella fucking quotable, bro.
Gotta be.
For the viewers and stuff, can you just sum up what was it like making that first track, Cerebral?
That was, I pretty much approached it like an elevated announcement, because I'm like, all right,
okay,
I love that. Self-presentation with just bars. Let me start Nomadic Thoughts with just bars. Plus, my mom had, after Self-presentation had been made and was out, she described my music. She used the word cerebral and she said thought-provoking. And she walked me through what listening to my music is like. So I figured beginning another project, I'm like, I'm gonna just dive into the fact that it's cerebral music. And keep it there from jump.
Wow. Bro. Dude, like, people, please stream his music everywhere you can find, Spotify, everywhere. Like, please tell these people, like, where to find your music, bro. Like, they need to find your music ASAP.
Just straight Skinny BK, capital S, one word, Skinny BK, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, etc., etc. SoundCloud and YouTube, I couldn't just make it Skinny BK for some fucking reason. So it's Skinny BK with a space and a capital I, like Roman numeral 1. So Skinny BK 1, YouTube and SoundCloud specifically is where you'll find me. And then Instagram is Skinny BK 1, again, one word, the number 1, because it's one me.
Yes, fam, yo, check him out. And I call y'all fam because y'all my family. And I fucking mean that, man. So chess boxing, we gonna get into that, all right? Yeah. My pathology, don't throw hands with another man unless I got to. Let pride rot and defeat stand, right?
Yeah.
Wow, man. What was, like, tell me the story behind making that particular song right there.
Just having encounters with people who, to me, on the front of having a mental battle are kind of bitch made. Because they run their mouth like you're going to want to throw hands with them or something. And then I clap back and I'm just keeping the conversation. I'm like, yeah, nah, this is my retort. Where they're kind of trying to attack me or whatever. And I don't give a fuck. So I'm just sitting there trying to understand what the hell they're doing. And they like freeze and they get all weird and they're sitting there like, oh, they get real quiet when a minute ago they were on a high horse looking down at me. I interpreted it in my head as like playing chess with somebody. And they come up to the board. You're sitting there chilling. And they're like, oh, I'm going to beat this dude at chess. And they get to the board, run in their mouth, and then all the pieces on the board are revealed. And I have 80% of it covered with kings, rooks, knights, queens. And they have like a little line of pawns. And I'm looking at them like, why the fuck did you want to play chess with me? I'm not making problems. Why do you want to play chess with me?
Right.
Yeah, and then that line specifically that's kind of how I like to operate. Because I don't like giving myself unnecessary problems. Mm-hmm. I've seen tons of people around me do that. And I don't feel like it's a good idea ever. So unless I'm in a position where someone's attacking me physically or people I care about physically, I don't escalate it to that point. I don't really take it there. If it gets there, it gets there. If it doesn't, I don't worry about it. Exactly.
And that's my expectations too. So we share that same, you know what I mean? We share that same expectation of people.
Yeah.
Definitely. As much as I want to punch some people in the face, I have restraint. So, I love the fact that, I have restraint and you have restraint when it comes down to shit like that,
Yeah, a lot of motherfuckers ain't worth the prison time.
No, they're fucking not. Mm-hmm. All that lip service can't even meet your own demands. It brings me back to that quote when he was talking about, chess. Like, bro, like, wow.
Yeah.
All that lip service can't even... I'm gonna put that in like a, in like a Facebook status or something. Like, I fucking love that quote.
That is very much like a passive aggressive Twitter post. Just by itself, that's exactly what that is.
Right? No, I fucking feel that, bro. I fucking feel that. And who the fuck produced it?
That was I wish I could remember dude's name. That's another YouTube producer who I just caught. It's Free Mob Deep Wu-Tang type beat. It's called Seventh Chamber. Either 7th or 37th Chamber. I forget entirely what he named it. But that instrumental, I was just looking through YouTube beats and I stumbled into it and I was like, oh, these drums. The drums are what made me pick it because those drums are disrespectful. And I was like, yeah, run that Wu-Tang type of shit.
Those drums are too fucking disrespectful because I'm listening to it like, bruh. Like, it's just, in the way that you ride in the beat, you know what I mean? With your intelligent ass lyricism, just talking your shit, I'm just like, bruh.
Rude as fuck. Have to be. I have to match the energy of those drums. I'm like, no, just these drums by themselves. Yeah. I could run that all day. No issue.
Oh, speaking of talking shit, you also invited a couple friends on this track. You brought your goons with you.
Yeah.
Dark Matter and Demiguys. So tell me about like how they ended up on the song.
The fucking homies. Demigod, he's pretty much my right hand in everything that I make.
Okay.
And I wanted him on my second project because we worked so closely together and he was starting to make his own shit and making albums and working with people. So I figured it only made sense to bring him in, especially for a song like that, because the way he pens and the way his lyricism functions, I was like, oh, he's a perfect fit. And then I wanted somebody else to kind of diversify the energy on it. So I hit up Dark Matter, another fucking homie. I gotta He's gotta beat his ass and smash. We haven't played in a long time, but he's dummy good with Pac-Man. It's fucking frustrating.
Dark Matter, I fucking loved his flow. And Demigod, he seemed like he's very different from both of you guys as far as like demeanor goes. Like he's much more hype.
Yeah, he's way more grimy, way more gritty. He definitely took it to, like, I told him I wanted him on that, and he knew what the verse was because he was mixing it. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna just war, done, easy. And I'm like, see, perfect. I knew he was gonna elevate both the concept lyrically, and then in terms of his delivery, he's gonna keep it fucking heavy.
Oh yeah, he kept it very, very fucking heavy.
Which is exactly what that fucking beat needed. And I'm glad that he brought that.
They were perfect on that track. The three of y'all blended together on that track. It's something that you could listen to over and over and over again. Yeah. It has a lot of replay value, and I love that.
Fuck yeah. Very much a replayable one.
I want to bring up my personal favorite track, How.
Yeah.
And the first thing you said, how many angles can I approach my mind from? Can't seem to find that number. Guess that's an infinite sum.
Yeah.
Wow. So why did you put that first?
I don't know. That song was very much kind of erratic for me. I was making it and I'm sitting there like I have no idea what the fuck to talk about. So I just decided to take a second to be with myself at the beginning of it and be like, all right, how many ways can I approach making a song? How many ways can I approach making music? And I'm like, endless amounts. There's not really a cap on that. And kind of to set the pathology of the word how being through that song, I'm like, let me start with just letting my mind wander for a minute. And the project is called Nomadic Thoughts, which is kind of wandering thoughts. So I figured there needs to be at least one song of my brain just kind of spinning.
Okay, that's what's up. And speaking of expectations again, once again, you're exceeding people's expectations and you're showing how much of a fuck you don't give about what people have to say about what you wear or what kind of jewelry you have on. Especially when you said the quote, my most expensive necklace cost $20.
Yeah.
That's true, right?
Yeah, that was...
Where did you get that necklace?
That's my Amazon. That's my Zelda Triforce necklace, which is... I still wear that motherfucker, and that motherfucker has seen some shit, paint's wearing off, but whatever. People see it and they know exactly what it is. Because I'm a bastard. I don't get a lot of value out of people looking at me and being like, oh, you're sauced out, or oh, you're this, you're that. I'm like, I like being cozy, and I like feeling like I like where I'm at. So establishing that, especially as a rapper on a track, I figure is important to kind of set the tone for my career. Like, don't look to me for this shit because you ain't getting it out of me. If you get it, I'm going to be talking about how fucking deep into nerd culture something I wear is, and how other people are way too pussy to do it themselves.
Right, exactly. Because most people, they want to floss and they want to, look like they got something expensive on, when really their neck is green as fuck. So, don't even feel bad. You know what I mean? Why do you keep calling yourself bastard of all things?
It's me being objective.
Okay.
That's more, it's not even demeaning in my head. It's more just a direct, because you look up bastard and you see that it's an illegitimate child.
Right. So
it's me being just kind of like, all right, a lot of my understanding of how things around me function and how the world operates has been framed by the fact that I'm a bastard. Mm-hmm. So when I'm translating certain things, the best way I can translate is by digging into the fact that I'm a bastard, which is why I don't care.
Okay. Wow, bro.
Yeah. When the world tells you it doesn't care so many fucking times, I think if you're in a healthy mind state, you eventually just kind of go like, all right, I guess I'll just do what I do then. Because I have one life and I'm going to live that shit.
Yes. And I want to talk about a quote. You said, digging through my scars like a freelance car washer getting a spit shine.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Car washer giving spit shines.
Like, why that line of all things?
A dude who used to come into one of my works who was freelance car washing people's windows all the time. It was a kind of bougie grocery store. Okay. And he would cruise through there just like, oh, I'll wash your shit, or hey, I'll wash your shit. And I think of the kind of pocket you're in of desperation and just kind of figuring it out, which is very much the same kind of space I'm in when I'm processing my trauma or I'm unpacking something. It's very much like almost like I need to understand this as quickly as I can so I can keep growing as a man.
Right. Wow. And I want to also bring up that you found out about your great-grandpa dying. You mentioned that in the song?
Yeah.
And tell me the story behind that.
Oh, that day I was riding my bike home from work. Mm-hmm. It was like 9-something p.m. My mom calls me, and I'm on the canal just cruising. I pick up, and I hear that she's been crying. She's like, yeah, your great-grandpa passed away. And I kind of just stopped. Mm-hmm. And mostly because I was on the phone with her, I didn't want to start crying too. So I kept it all in.
Okay.
And just kind of processed it when I got home. Because that's, next to my dad, that's the only man that I've ever really wanted to be like in my life ever. And I wasn't around him very much, but every time I was, there was a quiet, not just confidence, but a quiet comfort you would get being around my great-grandpa. Okay. And he was a man of genuine character and work ethic, and he kind of set the tone for me for what a man is supposed to be. So I kind of immediately processed that I didn't get to have conversations with him nearly as much as I wanted, because a bunch of my family's from Illinois originally. So I didn't get to be around him very much growing up.
Wow.
And, I mean, luckily I have plenty of stories of him, like talking about working at the factory and car washing at 16 and all this other shit. But I didn't get to learn nearly as much from him as I wanted to. Okay. Nor be around him and all of that as much as I think he wanted to be with me. Because he's a man of genuine character. He was. And I don't really meet a lot of men of genuine character. Wow. And especially because he's family, and he's someone in my family who has character, it hit that much harder when I realized he was gone.
Wow. Oh my God, man. I'm sorry for, I know it's late, but I'm sorry for your loss, bro. I mean that.
Nah, thank you, man.
I really mean that, man. So another quote I want to bring up is when your mom said she doesn't want you playing with any guns, no water guns, no nothing.
Yeah.
So, how come? Why?
Because she knows how it goes. And at the time, I think I was 6 when we had that conversation. She's trying to raise a black son. And as a black woman, she understands how a lot of things operate. Mm. She grew up with my great-grandparents who lived through the civil rights movement, same with my grandma. So she got to catch a lot of game from them, and then being around in life and seeing the things that she saw. She knows how things operate. So she tried to very much early on with a lot of things kind of give me a level of understanding of how things operate, and especially on the front of me having toy guns and all that, and running around, she's like, yeah, nah, don't think that the world is going to view you like it's going to view all your friends. That was pretty much what the conversation was. Wow. Yeah, and then even the following line about Tamir, when that happened, that was a heavy moment for me of just like, oh yeah, I'm really not safe out here, because that's a 12-year-old kid that they just shot down in cold blood. And easy. Yeah. If I was running through the neighborhood when I'm a kid, that could have been me. Yeah. So it's articulating that part of my understanding of how things around me operate, rather than just saying I can. I'm like, let me give you the context of. We had a conversation once about this exact shit. I was first grade, and there was fear in her face. That's one of the only times I can remember looking at my mom and seeing her genuinely terrified of something. So I was like, okay, this is heavy. And then as I got older and saw more what goes on, I'm like, yeah, she was heavy with it for a reason. Yeah, man. Good mothers, are very protective over their kids. Yeah, have to be. Especially when you're a single mom. Yes. You're trying to walk careful by yourself in general. And another thing you mentioned is you said that you wasn't very accepted by the black community? Mm-mm. Or that you didn't feel accepted? No, I never did growing up. I think now it's significantly easier because I, in some parts, can be more honest about the fact that I'm a black man, and I can kind of carry myself like that a lot easier because I've come to grips with it. But also, in just being a kid watching cartoons and playing video games and helping take care of my autistic brother at home, I wasn't on a lot of the same shit as other people. So I would get shit, which is what it is. I've always had a few good friends close to me, but I never, even still to this day, I don't really feel like on sight, at least from people around my age range. Right. I kind of get that mutual, you're another person, I'm gonna respect you, or just people in general. There's always that asterisk of you're not really black or this, that, the third, or whatever. When if a cop runs in there looking for a young black man with dreads, kill on sight type of mentality, I'm the one person in this fucking room who's gonna get popped, no questions asked. Right, exactly. Like it don't matter. You know what I mean? No. And people think that, because you black, you're supposed to act a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to act, talk rough. You're supposed to, sag your pants and do all the other bullshit. You know what I mean? It's just expectations. You know what I mean? Yeah, because a lot of people come from environments where that's what's around them and that's what they understand. Yeah. So they see someone that doesn't move that way and they're like, what the fuck? But I grew up with my mom, who's pretty much a scholar, saying random vocab words and heavy concepts all the time, and I'm picking them up as a child. But we still watch the Boondocks, and we still have Sunday dinners and shit, and I still get to watch Grandma burn something in the kitchen every time we have Sunday dinner. How the fuck you burn garlic bread, Grandma?
Wait, like, she burned garlic bread?
She burned garlic bread.
How the hell did she burn garlic bread?
I don't know.
Did she fall asleep?
I don't know to this day. There's always one thing. If there's Sunday dinner or Grandma's cooking, one thing gets burned. Every time without fail.
Can she boil water? Can she at least do that? Is that too hard for her too? Listen, Skinny Grandma, we are not talking shit, okay? We are not disrespecting you. We it's if you gotta blame somebody, blame him.
That's valid. Grandma knows I love her. I love you, Grandma.
And one more thing about this track is, who the fuck is Ronan?
Oh, Ronan is you'll learn more about Ronan as the clock moves. That's about what I'll give on that. Nomadic Thoughts set Ronan up. And down the line, you'll get a way better idea who Ronan is. Yeah, because one of the things that Ronan said was just do what you know you have to. Don't get lost in the noise. Yeah. And it was like you having a deep conversation with them. And then Ronan was just like, no. Are you good? And wouldn't take, no for an answer. Yeah. So is that what goes on in your own head? Pretty much. Ronan keeps me centered. That's about the most I can give out about Ronan, is that Ronan keeps me very centered. It's somebody close who keeps me on point. Definitely, man. I hear that. We all have a little bit of Ronan in our heads, so I agree with that. So with training, it seemed like, well, you said it at the end, but you and Demigod were having a very, friendly competition. Yeah. How was making that track? Like, tell me the story behind that. Oh, that was kinetic. I stumbled into that beat, which is another origami beat. Okay. It was a beast. And I heard that crazy beat change, and I'm like, man, what the fuck could I get on this with? And I figured Demi's the perfect fit, and we took 2 sessions. Okay. Of just writing in the moment, back and forth with each other. I write shit, he piggybacks off that, I piggyback off what he says, he piggybacks off what I say, and we just played tag with it for 2 sessions, and it was almost like a test for me. Like, all right, this other motherfucker who's dope as shit, be in the moment with him and go back and forth and see what you guys come out with. And that shit was like a lyrical, listen to a lyrical fest. Like, it was just so much lyricism and so much going back and forth. I'm like, this is getting kind of competitive. but in a good way. It's not like y'all battle rapping or nothing. It's just more like it's just y'all just spitting fire and y'all just kind of, you know what I mean? Like, just seeing who can go the hardest, basically. Pretty much. It's a test for, I think it was a test for him too, on top of just a message to any other MCs, where it's like, hey, even that little bit I said at the end wasn't just for him. It was for anyone else who thinks they're dope. I'm like, all right, we competing, motherfucker. Pull up and bring your best, because that's exactly what I'm going to do. Was you thinking in your head, you ain't going to outdo me on my own shit? I know that. Was that going through your mind when you recording? Yeah. Even if I'm on his shit, I'm like, I'm going to shit all over you, and he knows it too. every time we get a fire under each other's asses when we work together, because it's like, all right, motherfucker, you're not about to outbar me. That's unacceptable to me. Friendly competition, but at the same time, y'all bring the best out of each other. Yeah, it makes us it makes me better working with people who I think are as good as me, if not better than me. It only improves my lyrical ability, which is what I want all the time anyway. And it's really fun getting to work with somebody else who's of the same kind of caliber and cut from the same cloth. Because then I can sit and be like, all right, I not only get to enjoy this, but I get to be a part of it at the same time. Right. Which is just a fucking beautiful moment to have when you're making music with somebody. Wow, man. To be honest with you, man, that's probably my second favorite track behind How. Because just the lyrical, just hearing that shit, I'm just like, yo, I got to turn it up all the way. It's just the bass and everything. I just have to turn it all the way up. You know what I mean? It's one of them songs where I'm sure people are going to be blasting up out of their cars. I can hear that on the radio type shit. Fucking good, because that's exactly how I want that track to work. That's exactly how I wanted that to work when I heard it. Yes. And then now we're going to talk about the final track, Loungin', which, more self-reflecting. And, talking about, overworking yourself and finding balance in that. One of the first quotes you said is self-awareness, the slope is more slippery than I thought. Yeah. So, tell me a little bit more about that. Getting into different situations as a person and kind of having things put in front of you in a moment and you having to just adapt, especially new kind of experiences and shit that I think oh yeah, no, I'm fine on that, I'm good. And then being in the moment and being like, oh, oh damn, this girl is looking at me, and it's kind of hard to not press it, even though I don't want to, because I don't go for sloppy seconds. Or
why are you sounding so nice and so passive when you're talking about this shit? When on the song you were like being super aggressive, like I could take your bitch if I wanted to type shit. Like you was on that.
That's
up here. Now you fronting. Now you like, nah, like, I'm just, you know what I mean, just controlling my urges. And when in the song you talking shit. So like, is that what's really going through your mind? You just talking shit in your head like that?
No, that's really what's going through my mind. I have to just keep myself centered about it, because multiple times in life I've either teed up a dude's chick, or a dude's chick has teed herself up in front of me, and that shit's it's harder to fight that in the moment than I would imagine it is.
Yes, definitely, bro. And I had a great time listening to this. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, thank you.
And like, you know, quotes like, I'm obsessing like a bodybuilder chasing godly fitness.
Yeah.
Wow. I fucking love that quote. Like, tell me about that quote real quick.
That's about how much I obsess over music. Like, making it, the process, creating the kind of sound that I want, the kind of style I want to bring, the kind of flow to bring to a certain instrumental, the way my cadence should bounce, the way my rhymes should be bouncing, all of it, it's constant. Like, I think I annoy friends because I just talk about this shit all the time, because it's on my mind all the time. Because it's not only I want it to be my everyday life,
right? But
it's the first thing that I've been passionate about, where the passion hasn't gone anywhere. So my brain's just in overdrive about it all the fucking time. Even if I'm chilling, playing Kingdom Hearts or something, it's still spinning through the back of my head while I'm trying to do spells and use potions to keep myself alive. I'm always thinking about it. Always.
And both verses are slightly different from each other. The first verse is more so just talk about you keeping your urges in check. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And your second verse is more like finding balance between, you know, hip hop and rest, and like, or like just finding balance between like staying busy, period, and resting to play video games. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like at the end of the verse, you said something about your friend reminding you to like, you know, take some time and chill, and you turn on your Xbox. You know what I mean? So like, is that like a true story? Like, tell me about that.
It was, I've heard it from a couple friends, but that was my buddy Michael. He just said it bluntly one time. Was it before I was in my apartment? It was at some point we're talking, and he's just like, yeah, you got to take time to rest, man. It's like, you need to take time to sit. A few friends have told that to me before. So, and because I work so much, and then I'm making music and trying to do my thing and get that shit popping and be as many places as I can be and meet people and network, I have to have those moments of just kind of sitting and centering myself. Especially because I think a lot of people are very just go. Right. And they spend their entire life in go mode. And they never slow down to appreciate the moment of where they're at, or what they're doing, or the people they have, or even just the piece of media they have they can consume. Or I think having a pet is the most universal way people get grounded. Just looking at this little animal and being like, all right, this thing's fucking adorable. Like, oh, your personality is really funny, or whatever. It's just important for me to center myself, because it's very easy for me to burn myself out. And I will happily, I've done it many times before, and I will do it again in a heartbeat. So I almost have to have a wall in my head of like, all right, stop, game for an hour, 2 hours, then come back to this shit. Or I hear my homies in the house, and I'm like, all right, go interact with your people, because your people are here. You don't know how busy everybody is. You don't know what would happen to any of them today. You don't know what happened to you today. Go see your people. It's maintaining that balance. And then having the times, like, friends of mine know if they see me pacing with headphones on or something, they're like, all right, leave him alone until he's done. He'll come find me.
Definitely.
It's juggling those two, because it's a balance. Yeah.
So overall, how do you feel about, you know, self-presentation and nomadic thoughts? Like, if you had to give it your own rating, what would you rate them?
I had to give them my own rating.
Yes.
It's been longer since I lived on self-presentation as a whole than since I lived on nomadic thoughts. I just sat and listened to nomadic thoughts again, like 2 weeks ago, actually. I think nomadic thoughts is very much a step up in terms of how everything is written, and the diversity in the production, and the different pockets that I slide into.
Right.
And self-presentation has a very raw energy to it. That I still appreciate just as an artist and as a creative, and looking back at it in retrospect and kind of pulling from that, like, okay, this is very... There's a center to how this all functions.
Right.
Yeah, I don't even know what I would rate either of them, to be honest. Yeah, it's hard for me to think of my own shit in terms of giving them ratings. I just know that one, you get, there's still personal content on both, of course, but one, you get way more personal content as like an entry.
Right.
And then the other one, you get way more lyricism, because I am an MC, and I think with Nomadic Thoughts, I realized I'm an MC more, so I'm like, oh, I gotta lock in.
Yeah, I definitely saw the difference with that. So, one more thing I'm gonna ask from you: are you comfortable doing this? I want you to spit us like just a little something.
Just a little something?
Just a little something.
Oh, shit. What's one that I've done recently? Oh, man. I'm literally hitting the wall of having so many verses that I've done that I have to consider which one I want to do. So many ain't felt the definition of isolation. Scared if they do, death will become their favorite temptation. Fiending to be respected. Practicing what they know. Commanding I'll be better than all their actions have ever shown. Definition of bitch, a pussy with no conviction. Can't register right or wrong. Emotions in need of fixing. My eyepiece got you nicknamed. Proudly wear the title. Learning from all you bitches like kids reading the Bible. Chilling on the sky's rim, speaking flames of destruction. Sparring with spirits of ancient heroes who died in dungeons. Y'all vocals dry, I got tsunamis coming, deeply fucking the mic when my vocal cords get combust and she gushing. Rock a snapback, piss on what I call whack. Every word I pop, bet both my lungs I'll back that. Skip sleep, drop my Quillin ink, make my wallet fat. Now till I'm ash wax poetic, making every bastard snap.
Holy shit. Goddamn. That was Skinny BK, y'all. Yeah. And we just ended off on a fucking fire note, okay? Please check him out. He is everywhere. You can find music, Spotify, SoundCloud, every fucking where. So please look him up, Instagram, Facebook. Once again, can you just put your social media out there for people?
Yep. Skinny BK, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, all of the above. Skinny BK, space, capital I, YouTube and SoundCloud specifically. Skinny BK1, Instagram. And then skinnybk.com for my website.
Great conversation, man. It was really nice having this convo, bro. I'm so fucking glad I did this.
Oh, yeah. Same thing for me, dog. I appreciate you even having me on here.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys in the next podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And y'all have a good one.
Deuces, y'all.
Deuces.